Everyone, let me introduce myself by who I am. I'm Datu Dr. Jerry Perez De Tagle. I'm very honored and pleased to have this opportunity to meet each and every one of you. There is no coincidence why we're meeting today. I truly believe there is destiny, in my opinion. Yeah? And so I want to speak with you from heart to heart, in the sense that why am I here? It's because this book has changed my life.
Wow.
Truly. I'll give you a background. I come from the Philippines. I was born and raised Roman Catholic, from kindergarten to PhD in my education. 135 million people, 7,000 islands, 85% Roman Catholic. Per capita income around $5,000, not per month, per year. Very poor, right? And at the time in 2016, 85% use of drugs in 85% of the villages in the country. And crime is very high. So, how did I get into this? It's because I saw somebody in a seminar in the cruise ship with a big medal, and I said, "What's that?" "That's a freedom medal." And then somebody said that this book contained most, if not all, of the technology that we have in all of our basic books. I said, I made a postulate or a vision. I want this medal and I want this book all over the country. But I had no idea how to do it. All right? And so that's a postulate or a vision. There is no agreement. And so my key challenge for us today is, what do you want? And come from that space, not from a conservatism which at the tone level scale is 3, right? And you want to 10x your life? I didn't know any better. That's what I did, because postulate is 30, 10x, 30.0. It's 10x. And so, the book is saying, the way to happiness is a high-speed road to those who know where the edges are. So there is no speed limit, there is no speed ticket. All right? So what do you want? Of course, ourselves, our family, our community, our organization, our society, our country, our state, our United States of America, Colombia, Philippines. How about the whole world?
Yeah.
Right? So I made a postulate after I did what I did in the Philippines, which is to disseminate the way to happiness. And people say, "How did you do it? Who paid for it, Jerry?" I was wondering, what do you mean who paid for it? Well, the Department of Defense paid for it. The Catholic Church paid for it. The Muslim universities paid for it. So who else should pay for it, right? I didn't know any better, you see. Nobody told me that, no, we have to give this away and disseminate it that way. I said, no. I'm of the view, because I have a business background, that if we are to make this into the world, it has to be solvent, meaning it should pay for itself, in my opinion. Of course, if we get grants and donations, of course we like that too. I call that in the pump, you prime the pump with a but for the pump to keep on pumping water, I don't think we can depend on the grants and donations alone. We should do that, but I think it has to be from a sense of solvency and what else? Sustainability. How do we do that? We know from the tech, there has to be a technology transfer. And we know from the tech, there has to be knowledge, responsibility, and control. KRC, control. What is control? Management control. Who will control? It's not us. It's the people who will have the KRC, technology transfer, for them. So my postulate is that in the next 10 years, 3/4 of the human population, or 6 billion people, will be safe-pointed with LRH technology. So how do we do that? Of course, continue what we're doing now. I love the stories. I love the children, the hearts of the people. that we have touched lives. Continue that. But I truly believe we have to think bigger. Why? Because the civilization is actually at risk. We know that. If others do not help safeguard and improve the environment, the way to happiness would have no roadbed to travel on at all. The roadbed is at risk. Truly. And what does that truly mean? Right? So, how do we do this? So we know we have to play games, and we have to take a lot of action, which is on scale 20 and 22 and 20. So big games. So we need to disseminate with nation states and governments. So I'm very pleased that the nation sovereign of Lakota Nation is here.
Wow.
Today with us, opening with us. Chief. No coincidence. So we have to work with nation states. We have to work at the highest level of the organizations. That's what LRH is saying in the PR technology. Look at your population, public, and then focus on the OLs. Who are the highest OLs? The highest you can go, right? So we have to work with the largest organizations of society if we are to have the vision of 3/4 of the population of the planet safe pointed. So it would be nations have to be safe pointed. CEOs of the largest corporations of the world have to be safe pointed. Churches, Catholics, Christians, Muslims. And I want to say Muslim in particular because as of today, 1.5 to 2 billion people are Christian Catholic, correct? But the prediction is that in the next 20 to 30 years, the major population of churches will be Islamic, 2 billion, will overtake Christian Catholic. And Western civilization as we know it will become more Islamic. And I think we need to have the correct information because I believe there's a lot of misinformation on that regard, especially in the West Christian world. We need to find that data and we need to safe point that. And so this is why, how do we do that? We need to safe point. That's why we gave the title of Datu to LRH last year in the birthday game. What is Datu? If you have a king in the west, you have a sultan in the east, the king appoints a marquess or marquis, the sultan appoints a Datu. Datu, D-A-T-U, like a chieftain. So we should do that as we safe point in every country, religious group, institution, multinational corporations, and definitely with the AI revolution of the social media. We have to participate with that. We need to understand that fully because I love what was discussed earlier, but the majority of source of information is not legacy media. It's not. 70% of information is in social media. It's with the young people. And I love to see the young people in the room, but I would want to see that the majority of the attendees should be young people, in my opinion, if we are to make a difference. Not to say that, my white hair is, I'm a triple citizen, I'm a citizen of the Philippines, citizen of the US, and recently I became a senior citizen. And that's great too. And we need more young people, to imbibe us with the knowledge, with the approach, and the thinking methodology of how they think, which is very different, in my opinion. We don't fully understand it, or at least I can speak for myself, I don't fully understand it. So how do we work with the churches? One of the initiatives that I did is I wrote up a United Declaration of Peace, which is working with the Brahmanic religions, what's the Brahmanic, Hindu, Buddhist, and Abrahamic religions, which is Jewish, Christian, Islamic, and of course the other religions of the world. We need to work with them. We need to reach out to them. So I can tell you what this is about. You can use this as a tool. We need to develop our chapters and branches. That's why from here next week I will be going to Colorado and to create chapters of the Way to Happiness. But I must say to you, in the Philippines, I was the only one who was trained in the technology. And all my volunteers were Catholics. Catholic nuns were my volunteers. And we disseminated all over the Philippines with the soldiers. And my senior volunteer was an 85-year-old former Catholic nun. And she would order the generals, "General, let's do this." "Yes, ma'am." The generals would say. Yes, we have to reach out to all religions. If they're trained with the technology here, then that's best. But it is not a prerequisite, because always remember what is written in the book. This is a common sense based technology, moral code, that is not based on any, let me read it, common sense, and it's not part of any religious doctrine. Very important in safe pointing. Very important. So that's how I say point to the Catholics, the Muslims, the Christians in the Philippines. And I believe the world, no doubt, is ready for you, the person sitting in your chair. You have a historic role. But I really believe, as they say, think globally and act locally. And I think that's what we're doing here, and it's awesome. It's my honor that we are working together. And one last thing, how do we reach out to to corporations and government? What does the big world what does the world do? They professionalize the positions. So I'm proposing that we do the same. How do we do this? We have rapid rapid programs for what is needed and wanted. It's very important. I'm calling it rapid partnership programs with corporations, with churches, with governments. And then once we understand what they need and want, we professionalize it. So how do they do it? Isn't there a legal officer in companies? There's even human rights officers. I'm proposing that we have a certification of a happiness ethics officer that would be certified here. Given if they want certification from a college or university, we can do that, no problem. And then this should be paid, salaried within every school, every business corporation, every agency from the municipal to the federal level should have an ethics officer. We have the information, it works. They need us. Actually, they're waiting for you. So we should have that happiness ethics officers all over the world. Right? And so we can end the situation of being dependent on donations. We should develop that further, but it has to be solvent. And there should be, all the seats in this room, in this building, should be filled to the brim, and we need a second building, sir. That's what we need. The agenda is huge, and I'm very excited to be in this journey with each one of you. And it's awesome. Thank you, I'm excited.